Hello. Hi, Walt.
Hey Sharon, how are you tonight?
I am good. It's April 18th. We've missed a few weeks. We've had some life
Yeah,
and
we have.
scheduled changes, which is good actually, because it keeps us on our toes, so to speak, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes life gets in the way. In my case, the weather got nice and I've been umpiring high school softball games and it's
Sweet.
kind of rearranged some aspects of my schedule. So
Yeah.
I'm glad. And we moved to Thursday night. So it's a transformational Thursday. So we're
Oh,
going to have transformational type thoughts. It's
I,
not even
I,
a Wellness Wednesday.
and I
Isn't it,
wrote it.
isn't it funny
I,
we have an adjective for every day of the week?
we do. And I wrote on the timeline Wellness Wednesday, and it's Thursday. Go figure. Talk about habits.
Yes. Yes.
This is
Well,
what I
you
used to
get it.
call.
It's the power of routine, right?
That's right. And one of the things that I thought we could talk about today is, and we may have covered this already. We think we may have covered this, but I think it's such a valuable um, concept or idea. A lot of people are like, I can't do this, and yet we like to ask the question of, well, how can you do this? How can I, become stronger? How can I become um, better, healthier, right? A lot of people are stuck in a mindset is I can't, I've tried and I failed and I don't know what to do. And that's a very closed, fixed mindset, right? Um, Talk to me a little bit about what that's like.
Well, I mean, I think I think that it starts with being able to go through transitions and having gone through many of them, both, you know, vocationally, life-wise, as a parent. I think that, one of the things you start to realize um, is that transitions just happen sometimes. And there's a couple different ways to approach a transition, but the number one thing I would say in terms of just looking at how can I is that, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up.
Mm.
And I say that because we live in a world of distractions. I mean, we were just talking before we got on, about the driving in a car today.
Yeah.
I remember driving in a car with my parents. First of all, there were three people in the front seat, three people in the back seat, and if it was a station wagon, there were even more people.
Yep.
You know, and there was nobody holding one of these things. No one was holding a phone. A
Yep.
radio was on, AM or FM, and we were talking, we were sleeping, we were playing games, we were doing puzzles, coloring, whatever. We were busy. But now, you can ride in a car that first of all will drive itself in
Right.
certain cars, right?
Yep.
It will beep if you cross a line. It
Yep.
will beep if you try and merge and somebody's in your way. You can set the cruise control and it just invites you to be distracted. And more importantly, instead of having to follow a map and pay attention to the map to get you where you're going to go, right? We have a GPS. And what happens, right? So then we talk on the phone, we listen to a podcast. Sometimes we got earbuds in rather than listen through the phone, and we get distracted. And
Yep.
what happens? I know it's happened to me, so I know. I get distracted, particularly in New Jersey, because I'm not as familiar with New Jersey, and I miss an exit. And I
Yep.
miss an exit, and I end up God knows where, God knows when. And of course you can't make a left-hand turn the right way anywhere in New Jersey. So you got to even figure out which lane to be in on a road you don't know. Meanwhile, the car's still beeping. You're driving over lines, you're merging, and all this stuff's going on. And it's all because you're doing something with this, or you're trying to talk to somebody and you're distracted. Instead of the easiest way of getting anywhere, right, is to focus on the task at hand, dig into what it is you're trying to do, and just make the choice to do it right, right? What do they say? If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Correct.
And in order to do it right, you have to take yourself or take the distractions out of the way and just do it. And then have the patience to see it through, right?
Right. Right.
How many times or how many people do you talk to who, you meet them and you start talking to them about choices and they say they give up quickly?
Yeah. Almost everybody.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it's because our world has become so disposable, right?
Yep.
I mean, we dispose of things so quickly that we spend, to me, a lot of money on sometimes because it's just easier to replace it than it is to fix it, move it, change it, paint it, whatever we could do that our parents, or my parents at least, would have done to
Right.
just make it work, you know. Um, we dispose of it and we're good with that, and it's kind of the same way that we've learned to eat, right?
Hmm.
We eat out, we dispose of it, we don't even call it eating out, we say let's get food. I mean, that's like somewhat Neanderthalish, right? Because it used to be we would dress to go to a meal.
Right.
It was a big deal when I was growing up for my mother and father to tell me we were going out to eat.
Yep.
But now, because it's so easy, we incorporate social activities, we incorporate whatever else into the evening. That is what some people do all the time
Yep. Yep.
because it's disposable,
Right.
because it's easy, it's quick, non-committal, right? There's
Right.
you can walk into a restaurant wearing just about anything as long as you're clothed.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time my sister wanted to take me out to a restaurant in Philadelphia when I was in my early teens. I don't know what year it was for my birthday. She wanted to take me to a restaurant. And even she didn't know that it had a jacket requirement. Now, just imagine where would anyone go for a nice meal, not even a fancy meal, right? Because there's a
Right.
distinguished there. And someone told you need a jacket. I mean, half the time, some people aren't even wearing shoes,
Yeah, we
right?
won't go to what the young women are wearing these days.
Well, I wasn't even going to go into
Yeah.
gender. I was just going to go
Yeah.
shoes, shirts without holes, whatever. But the world's become so casual because it's all becoming so disposable.
Right.
And it makes it hard to say, how can I? Because it's so easy just to
Right. It's
push it away.
everything's automatic, right? Everything is just this quick and it's easy and it's autopilot and you get lost, right? I mean, that's just veering off the road. I know when I've left my GPS and I get pissed off. I'm like, God, do it. And that doesn't serve me and that doesn't help me and that doesn't keep me healthy, right? And what I love about what we do, Walt, is we help people to take control back and make healthy habits easy. That's
Well, we try.
we
I think
try.
that
But
some of the concepts that we're just trying to, uh, share are things that, if you want to take some time and think about and use some of them as a way of getting from point A to point B without, worrying about, what's in between, and
right,
understanding that there's going to be an occasional roadblock. Just like I saw last night, there's apparently sinkholes in King of Prussia that, people are going to need to avoid pretty soon. I mean, these things are going to pop up and we just need to figure out how to get by them, because
right,
we can't say, how can I, if we're not willing to see it through, because it doesn't always happen as quick as the text message or the text message response or the like comes into a fancy or fabulous post.
right,
There's sometimes it takes a little while, but the celebration can be a little bit stronger when it takes a little while. There's certain things that are worth savoring uh, to get to them. And I think we often do ourselves a disservice living in such a fast-paced, uh, you know,
yeah,
world. Even in some of the books I've read about habits and forming habits, they use the term dopamine and
yeah,
things that are, way above my pay grade. But when you read them or listen to them, you kind of think about how happy it is, and how these places like Facebook, for example, and other social medias, just train you to be that robotic, because we all want to be liked. We all want to be, acknowledged. Um, and again, it goes back to disposable, easy, immediate. Whereas, again, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. And, if you can envision that for yourself, how can I becomes a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah. And I think it takes talking to somebody to, I don't mean professionally, I mean just anybody, Walt or myself or anybody out there to be like, how have you overcome that obstacle? How have you been able to stay on course, on the path? How come you're enjoying the journey? I mean, I don't want to get into this, but end of life research, and what people say. Um, are we just letting life fly us by mindlessly and stuck in, oh, I can't do that? Ask the question, how can I? And how do I get to enjoy being me, being around family and friends and people and like literally living my life, right? I
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it's the old adage of, I guess in a way it's, who's in control of your life, right? Is your life in control of you, or are you in control of your life?
Right.
And it may not mean in totality, it could just be certain aspects of things. But, we were talking about just the differences in, the things that happen sometimes by the people we hang out with in certain situations that can be very difficult for anyone, regardless of what it is, because peer pressure um, exists still in the world and in groups of people,
Yep.
whether they be smart decisions, healthy decisions, you know, off the wall decisions, you know, um, sometimes it becomes even harder to say no to something that may not be in your best interest, because we so much seek to be around people and be with people and be a part of a crowd, rather than the person that says, no, I can't do that, or no, I don't want to eat that, or no, I don't want to drink that, or, you know, um, and again, it's how can I? Well, you got to kind of pull on the reins a little bit, slow down the Pony Express,
Yep.
and you know, take some solace in taking back some charge, and be fair to yourself to get the things that you want. It may take a little bit longer. It may have some pain points, but ultimately, the rewards are so much better.
Right. I agree. So if you're ever facing any type of obstacle, right? Whether it's what you're who you're spending time with, what you're eating, what you're drinking, if you're moving, how you're working, where you're driving, and you're like, I can't, stop for a moment and ask, well, how can I? Other people have done the things that you want to do. I mean, unless you're creating a brand new idea in the world, but I don't think many of us are.
No.
Stop with yourself and ask, how can I make this work? And it might be harder, but like Walt said, it's going to be so much easier and in the long run, so much better for you, right? So, and once you do it once, you get to do it again and then again. And
Oh yeah,
then,
rinse and repeat. Once you
right.
find that formula that works for you,
Yeah.
rinse and repeat. And just keep repeating it over and over again. And you're going to find out that you're going to have so much more clarity and peace of mind. And you're going to be able to tackle the tougher things that, really, you know, might be tough to cope with, tough to deal
Right.
with. Those life-changing things that, you know, they don't come along too often, but when they come along, they can throw you off,
Yeah.
if you're not,
Absolutely.
if you don't have things in place in the way you go about your business every day, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's always a pleasure. I love your ideas. I love your descriptions. I use a car analogy a lot because of you. And let's turn off the GPS that's external and turn on the internal GPS from now
Hey,
on.
start using a road map.
There
Draw the
you
map
go.
yourself, get to the destination, and have a great time doing it.
Wonderfully said. Thanks. Have a great night.
We'll see you.